Hello guys and welcome back. Today we are going to learn how to create our environment. So right now our environment looks only white. It does not look so cool. So today we will try to, create an environment that looks a little bit better than this. All right. So actually what we do today is that I will show you the tools and the tips on how to create your own environment, and then after that I'll create my own environment, and then it will be an exercise for you to create your own environment. All right, so I'll show you the tools that you need to create your environment, and then you'll need to create your own environment by yourself. All right, so let's go to the video. So the first thing that we want to use in our environment is the geometry tools. All right, so let's see what is the geometry tools. If you come here into the models panel in here and then go to the geometry in there, you can see that we've got stairs, you've got box, cone, cylinder and sphere and everything. You can use those things in your environment, but let's see how can we use them. All right, click the box in here and then grab it into your environment and then get near to it. Right now we've got a box like this. All right, and you can see that it has the different sides, and it has these small vertices, all right, that we can select. Actually right now I cannot select them. All right, so what we want to do is in here in the modes panel in here, select the geometry editing mode. All right, so you see that this will be selected, and after that, after you click the geometry editing mode, right now we can select each side of the cube, and then if we select each side, we can grab them and put them up, down. We can create weird shapes, right? So for example, I can create that shape or things like that. Let me Control Z to get back to the basic shape. And all right, so let's see what we can do to create a doorway. All right, this will be such an example that we can that will teach us what to do, right? So right now you see that we can select faces and then move them, and we can also select vertices and then move them up, down, and to any other side. You see that this will create some weird shapes as well. And we can also select the seams, all right, like this. All right, we can also select a side and then move it to wherever we want and create a shape. So let's create our doorway. All right, so to create our doorway, what we need to do is right, so the first thing that I want to show you is the snap grid. So let's see what the snap grid does. All right, so the snap grid position is in here. For example, right now if I move this up, you see that every time it moves it up by 10 units. All right, so if I change that value in here, that 10, all right, to 100, you see that it will move a little bit harder, but every time it moves 100 units up or down or in any direction. All right, and that is the same thing for rotation as well. All right, we can set the rotation value in here. Right, this is a snapping grid that we can use to create our environment. All right, I'm gonna set that to maybe 100 is good value. All right, and if you wanted small values that they were not in here, for example, you can set it to 1 as well. All right, you can move it as 1 value, but if you did not want to use that snapping grid, all right, you can always enable or disable the snapping grid in here. All right, so if it is yellow, it is enabled. If it is white, then it means it's not selected and it's disabled. All right, so I'm gonna select it and put it back to 100 maybe. All right, so right now we can move it up. All right, but what if we wanted to move it to the right side and left side as well? So think of it like that. We are creating a pillar in here and then a top in here and then a pillar in that side as well, like for the doorway. All right, so how can we do that? if I right now move this to the right side, it will create that shape that I do not want. All right, so let me Control Z to get back. So how can we create our doorway? All right, so we've got a tool that is called Extrude, and it is a very powerful tool. All right, so if you see that in here right now, it is selected edit. All right, so in the edit mode, we can, just move the things around. But in the extrude mode, all right, if we select the extrude mode, look at this. When I grab it up, you see that it's gonna create another side for it. All right, so that we can, move this side to wherever we want. All right, it's gonna create a different side other than the one in the, in the down part. It's gonna create another one in the up part. So if I select the extrude again and then move it, 2 or 3 units on the right side, you see that we've created something like a doorway. All right, it looks like. And then select the extrude again. All right, make sure it is selected. You don't have to select it every time, but just make sure that it is selected and it's not on the edit. All right, and then move it, 2 units to that side, maybe 3 units, I don't know, maybe 2 units, I don't know. All right, and then after that, what we need to do is go to the down part and then select the down part in here and, extrude it. Oh, make sure that you do not extrude it 2 times. All right, you can extrude it 1 time till the end of the, end of the ground, or you can extrude it 1 time and then go to the edit and move it downside. All right, so let me Control Z that. All right, so right now I extruded it a little bit. So if I extrude it again, you see that it is gonna create 2 parts that I do not want. All right, so what I'm gonna do is go to the edit and just move it down so that, it gets to the ground. All right, oh, this looks awful. Yeah, something like this. Yes, yeah, something like that. All right, let me make it 100 again, and you can see that we've created our doorway. All right, so you see that we created our doorway in here. Okay, so let me show you another way that we can create our doorway. All right, so let's get to, move next to it and go to the places in here and go to geometry in there and grab a box, take it next to that one. And what we want to do is make sure that, and by the way, please, if you're working with a geometry tool in here, all right, with the geometry tools in there, please do not do this. All right, if you are in the place mode, all right, and if you scale it, you see that the material will scale with it, and that will create so stretchiness and it will not be very good. So instead, what you want to do, if you are in the place mode, you can have the brush settings in here. If you select any, geometry and then go to the brush settings, you can see that we've got the X value and the Y value and the Z value as well. You see that it's not stretched at all. All right, the materials are looking just fine, but if I stretch it, you'll see that it's gonna create some weird materials that we do not want. All right, so you see that right now the stripes are small. All right, but if I stretch it, the stripes will be bigger. All right, but if I, change the values in here, all right, the stripes stay the same. All right, and the material will not be, stretched. All right, so make sure that if you are in this place mode, use the brush settings in here to, give it a shape instead of scaling it right here. All right, so let me Control Z, and what we need to do is, all right, so we wanted to create a doorway like that. How can we do that? Let's use the brush settings in here. All right, so let me see, maybe this is like, how much does it look like, the length, right? Let's see, this is 200, and maybe this is 400 or something like that. Yeah, so that will be 800. All right, so 200, and think of it as 400. And so we will make the y value in here, the green one, to be 800. All right, yeah, something like that. And how much does this look like? Maybe I don't know how much we did it, but maybe it looks like 600. All right, so the z value, we should use 600. All right, and I think we did not move this up. Yeah, so yeah, they look pretty much the same. All right, so how can we create a doorway with this? All right now it looks a little bit like a flat wall. All right, so how can we do that? So what we have in here, you see that above the x, y, and z values in the brush settings, above them we've got a brush type, and the brush type contains additive and subtractive. So what are these? Let me show you. If you grab a box, all right, grab another box and put it in here, and then all right, let's make it 400, right, and make it 400 as well. All right, make it something like this. Yeah, I think that should work. All right, maybe not 400. Yeah, if I grab it, yeah, I think that will work. All right, so what we want to do is move it, like this, move it to the edge of the the doorway that we want to create, and then with the middle box selected, select the brush type and make it subtractive, and you see that it's gonna carve out the edges in here, and then move that one there, and you see that we have created a nice doorway. All right, you see that we've created a nice doorway. So what we had in here for creating our doorway, we had two options. The first one was by extruding the edges out, and the other one was to create a big box and then make another box inside it and make it like make it subtractive. All right, and also remember that we do not have to always use the boxes. We can use the cones in here. For example, if I grab a cone, and what should we do with the cone? Let's do something weird. All right, so let me rotate the cone, and let me rotate it with 90 degrees, and then if we move the cone a little bit up, and I think right now it looks a little bit big. So what we want to do is make this z value to be 150, right, and make the outer radius to be maybe I don't know, maybe 100. All right, and move it a little bit up. I think right now it looks it looks weird, but you'll get the idea, right? So just select it, and where's the brush size? Here, go to the brush size and make it subtractive, and you'll see that we've got a I don't know what's that shape, but we created a great shape in here. Let me make that 50 and then move it like that. All right, so you see that we created two doorways. All right, one of them is with the extrude mode, and the other one by just using the the brush type of additive and subtractive. And you see that we created a nice shape of I don't know what that shape is, but we created that on the second doorway. All right, so thank you guys, see you in the next video, and in the next video I will show you some other tips that we can use in order to create our environment. And maybe in 2 or 3 other videos we will start our environment. And please make sure that you get used to those editing geometry tools. All right, the edit, the extrude tool, and things like that. Please make sure that you get used to them so that you can create your own environment. It's basically the same every time. You always wait, grab a box in here, and then you'll, move it up, and then go to the geometry, and there you'll select the side, and you might move the side to make it a little bit bigger, or you might create an extrude so that you create another face in there, and then move it, and again create a extrude, and again create an extrude. And I don't know what that shape is. It looks like a Z. So whatever. All right, so guys, I hope you learned something today, so see you in the next video.